Only 6 more weeks to go. I remember as a little kid beginning to count down the days until the end of the school year, starting around this time, excitedly awaiting a summer of fun and freedom. On New Year's Eve, we count down from 10, eager to welcome in a new year with our friends and loved ones. Counting is a ritual that helps us anticipate moments that we are looking forward to experiencing, like a family vacation or a special event. Our Jewish tradition, however, encourages us to count up rather than down. During Hanukkah, we followed the custom of Rabbi Hillel, who determined that we should start with 1 candle on the first night and increase our light with an additional candle on each of the remaining nights of the holiday. During Passover, we began the process of counting the Omer, the practice of counting up the 49 days between Pesach and Shavuot, when we celebrate the receiving of Torah on Mount Sinai. But what is the Omer? An Omer was an ancient Hebrew measure of grain, representing 1 sheaf of barley. The ancient Israelites marked the beginning of the spring harvest season by bringing a daily offering, an Omer-sized bundle of barley, to the temple in Jerusalem, concluding their harvest on the holiday of Shavuot. Once the temple was destroyed, the counting of the Omer became a spiritual practice rather than a physical one. The mystics used this ritual to connect the Jewish people's physical and spiritual redemption, and as Rabbi Ruth Adar writes, to remind us that Passover is not truly complete until we commemorate the giving of the Torah on Shavuot. Freedom without responsibility is incomplete and unreal. By counting, we remind ourselves that the process is not yet finished. The Kabbalists noticed that we count the Omer each day for 7 weeks, and they aligned those days and weeks with the Sfirot, the 7 sacred qualities embodied by God that provide inspiration for our own self-understanding and self-improvement. This Shabbat is the 9th day of the Omer, the 2nd day of the 2nd week. Both this week and this day of the week are associated with the quality of givurah, which can be interpreted as determination, focus, strength, discipline, and setting limits. On the spherotic tree, the map of these 7 special qualities, which mimics the shape of the human body, givurah sits opposite chesed, unbounded love. Givurah encourages us to have the strength to set limits, to show love by sometimes saying no and having healthy boundaries. Rabbis Lydia Medwin, Jill Perlman, Nicole Auerbach, and Nicole Byrne, along with their colleague Matthew Omer, suggest that if love, chesed, is the bedrock of human expression, discipline, givurah, is the channel through which we express that love. It gives our life and our love direction and focus. Take a laser beam, for example. Its potency lies in the focus and concentration of light in one direction, rather than fragmented light beams dispersed in all different directions. And yet, givurah must be balanced with chesed. Too much discipline, too much judgment, too much rigidity, these things can lead to a life in which we struggle to connect, to love one another freely. Rabbi Meir Goldstein agrees that givurah grants us the capacity to direct our actions, our thoughts, our commitments, and our love. And he suggests that when we choose to commit ourselves, we are employing givurah. When we choose the good and the holy, or God forbid, a different value to follow, that is also givurah. Our Torah portion this week, Shmini, gives us an interesting story through which to try to unpack the value of Gevurah. God and Moses direct Aaron to make various sacrificial offerings on behalf of the Israelite people. And the Torah describes Aaron's meticulous laying of the entrails on the altar in vivid detail. This first offering was done, the Torah says, kemishpat, according to the law. In reward, Aaron and Moses blessed the people, as Isaac sang, raised his hands and blessed them, and the presence of Adonai appeared to all of the people in the form of fire. Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, then chose to make their own offering, a pan filled with incense and fire. Perhaps they had been moved by witnessing such a holy moment and wanted to facilitate another opportunity to experience the presence of Adonai. Perhaps they wanted to honor their father. Perhaps they wanted to look good in front of the community. The Torah does not tell us why they acted this way, but what we do know is that they played with fire, an alien fire that was not kemishpat and had not been commanded by God. As punishment, a fire came forth from the presence of Adonai and consumed them. They died instantaneously in the presence of their father, who was stunned into a deep silence. This story has always struck me as deeply painful, eliciting a visceral emotional response. It seems like such an avoidable conclusion. God's punishment aimed to teach the Israelites a lesson. This is what happens when you go too far, make an unrequested offering in the wrong way. But God's punishment was lacking in chesed. After all, we know that on Yom Kippur, and in fact on every day of the year, we are invited to ask for forgiveness and to repent when we have transgressed. In this story, God left no room for apologies, acted with no mercy for Nadav, Avihu, or Aaron, their father, who was forced to watch his sons burn and not permitted to mourn their deaths. And, on the other hand, Nadav and Avihu acted without limits, offering incense that was not commanded with unknown motives. We don't know whether they checked in with their father to ask for permission. We don't know if they had fully learned and mastered the laws and regulations of sacrifice. They acted, perhaps, without boundaries, limits, or discipline. They lacked gevurah. So what do we take away from this difficult Torah story? For me, the goal is balance. We all have moments in which we move too far to either extreme of this chesed gevurah spectrum. We attempt to please others and defer to their wishes without acknowledging or caring for our own needs, love without boundaries. We want to look good, so we put others down and treat them harshly, discipline without kindness. We are all worthy of giving and receiving love in healthy ways. In the coming week, when we catch ourselves drifting to one extreme or the other, may we take a moment to breathe and act in a way that pushes us just a little closer toward balance. As we count our days, may we make our days count. Page 570. השבתות תמימות תהיינה. היום 9 ימים שהם שבוע אחד ושני ימים לעומר. Today is the 9th day, making 1 week and 2 days of the Omer. Shabbat Shalom.